Sisu, Road to Revenge, full video script. Welcome back, everyone. In today's video, we are going to take a deep dive into the film Sisu, Road to Revenge. We will walk through the complete storyline, break down the plot scene by scene, and talk about the cast and the characters they bring to life. Beyond that, we will look at how the film was made, touch on its box office performance, and close things out with a full review, along with some personal thoughts and reactions. There's a lot to cover, so let us get right into it. Setting the stage. The film begins by grounding us in a specific and painful moment in history. At the close of World War II, Finland found itself in a deeply difficult position. As part of the peace agreement with the Soviet Union, Finland was forced to hand over the Karelian region, a large swath of territory that many Finnish families had called home for generations. Practically overnight, thousands of people were uprooted from the land they had farmed, built upon, and buried their loved ones in. They were pushed across the border into what remained of Finnish territory, forced to start over with almost nothing. It is against this backdrop that we are introduced to our story. In a cold, gray Siberian prison, a man named Igor is brought out of his cell. He is not being released out of mercy or justice. He is being handed a job. A KGB officer has arranged this meeting because word has reached Soviet intelligence that a particular Finnish ex-commando has crossed back over into Karelian territory. This commando is known by a fearsome reputation, a man who during the Winter War allegedly killed more than 300 Soviet soldiers single-handedly, a ghost who turned grief into slaughter and became a legend in the process. His name is Atami Korpi, and the Soviets want him dead. Igor, whose full name is Igor Dragunov, is the man they believe can do it, because Dragunov has a personal connection to Atami's story that neither of them has yet fully reckoned with. The KGB officer promises Dragunov money and freedom in exchange for eliminating Atami once and for all. Atami's mission. What is Atami actually doing in Karelia? He is not there to cause trouble. He is not there to wage a one-man war against the Soviet state. He has one simple, deeply personal goal: to recover the timber from his old family home. The house where he once lived with his wife and 2 sons now sits on the Soviet side of the border. But the wood it was built from still belongs to him in every way that matters. He has numbered each board, dismantled the structure piece by piece, and loaded it all carefully onto his truck. His plan is to haul the timber back into Finland and rebuild the home somewhere safe, a way of reclaiming something, of honoring the family he lost by refusing to let their memory be buried under Soviet soil. He even gets his wish regarding a small dugout shelter next to the house, pulling that apart and loading it up as well rather than leaving anything behind. It is a quiet, stubborn act of defiance, not against an army, but against loss itself. Then he points the truck toward Finland and starts driving. He thinks he is headed home. He has no idea that the road he is on is about to become something else entirely. The first encounter. It does not take long before Dragunov's forces locate him. A group of Soviet soldiers intercepts Atami on the road, blocking his path with a military vehicle. Atami immediately clocks the threat. The moment he spots a soldier holding a Molotov cocktail, he knows this is not a routine checkpoint. He acts before they can. Moving with the decisive speed of someone who has been in far worse situations, he eliminates most of the soldiers in rapid succession, at one point running a man down and then gunning the engine so the body is launched backward into Dragunov's windshield. When the dust settles, only Dragunov remains. Atami has him in his sights, but something holds him back. He does not recognize the man in front of him. Dragunov has not actively tried to shoot him, and Atami, despite what his reputation might suggest, is not the kind of man who kills without cause. He lowers his weapon and drives on. It is a mercy he will not regret, because he does not yet know who he just spared. Dragunov, rattled but not beaten, links up with a convoy of soldiers on motorcycles and resumes the chase. The bikers are fast and aggressive. One of them manages to put a bullet into Atami's leg before Atami systematically dismantles the rest of the pursuit. Men going down in crashes, explosions, and by methods creative enough to border on absurd. An explosion forces him off the main road and into the dense forest, where he threads the truck between the trees, protecting his precious cargo of timber as best he can. He uses the forced stop to let the engine cool and to do something about the wound in his leg, wrapping it with grim practicality before pushing on. Aircraft and improvisation. Dragunov is not finished. He has more resources at his disposal than motorcycles, and he calls them in. Fighter jets are scrambled and directed toward Atami's position. Atami ducks into a barn for cover, but the jets begin bombing almost immediately, and he is forced back onto the road with aircraft screaming overhead. What follows is one of the film's most inventively staged sequences. Atami outmaneuvers the first jet by stopping the truck at precisely the right moment, causing the low-flying plane to clip its wing on the tree line and send the pilot spinning into a fiery wreck. He waits, patient and still, until he is confident it is safe to move again. The second pilot comes at him from the side of a cliff, strafing the road. Atami dodges the gunfire, and the pilot ejects rather than risk losing the aircraft. The unmanned jet continues barreling toward the truck. Atami's response is instant and physical. He shoots one of the restraining straps holding the timber, then hits the brakes hard, and the sudden deceleration sends a cluster of logs sliding forward to form an improvised ramp. The jet briefly rides the ramp before crashing. It is the kind of physics that exists only in action films, and the movie wears it with complete confidence. More jets arrive in formation and drop bombs across the area. The explosions are catastrophic. The truck is driven off the edge of a cliff and plunges into a river below. The vehicle is destroyed and gone. But Atami is not. He drags himself and his dog free from the sinking wreck and makes it to the surface. The raft and the tank. With the truck gone, Atami does not stop. He gathers the timber, the whole reason he came here in the first place, and lashes enough of it together to make a workable raft. He floats downstream with the logs, and in one of the film's more unexpected turns, he comes across an abandoned Soviet tank sitting near the bank. Most people would see a tank as a means of escape or attack. Atami sees it as a delivery vehicle. He loads what timber he can, packs the tank with every explosive he can find, and then drives straight toward the Soviet border, where Dragunov and his remaining forces are dug in and waiting. He builds the tank's speed by manually forcing fuel into the engine, then sets off the explosives at just the right moment. The resulting blast flips the entire tank, a massive steel machine, up and over the border crossing, arcing through the air directly over Dragunov's head before crashing down and coming apart in a heap of smoking metal. It is an extraordinary stunt, and it almost works. Almost. The tank is destroyed, and Atami is left badly injured and exposed. Before stepping out to surrender, he pushes a knife blade into the wound in his leg, concealing it inside the injury itself. Then he walks out with his hands up. The KGB want him alive, and Dragunov is under orders to deliver him that way. He releases the dog first. Whatever is coming, the animal should not have to face it. Captivity on the train. Atami is taken prisoner and loaded onto a train bound for Siberia. What follows is prolonged and brutal. He is hung from the ceiling of a train wagon like an animal carcass, and soldiers take turns striking him with a heated iron rod. He is bleeding from all over his body by the time Dragunov finally enters the wagon. This is the scene the film has been building toward. Dragunov stands before Atami and reveals who he is, the man who came to Atami's home in 1944 and murdered his family. He describes it without remorse, with something close to satisfaction. He tells Atami that his elder son, Otava, was brave and ferocious.